This is a super cool article I found. It's titled Scientists Identify Cellular Switch That May Reverse Diabetes. I wanted to go through this because it made me think of some really important questions. So the article starts off, you can see underneath the caption there, or underneath the picture rather, the caption says mitochondrial dysfunction in, I think that's B cells. I don't know, somebody can correct me if I'm wrong, but it looks like a B can cause their immaturity and impaired insulin production, contributing to diabetes. Researchers identified a stress response triggered by damaged mitochondria that prevents these cells from functioning properly. But blocking the response with a drug restored their ability to control glucose in mice. So, some key points I wanted to go over. There you see it says mitochondrial stress disrupts insulin production in diabetes, but reversing the damage may restore B cell function. So, right away, I'm thinking, okay, so what is causing the mitochondrial stress? What's causing the insulin production to be disrupted um, in the B cell function? Right now, right away, my mind goes to things like, you know, the corporate food system, the toxic environment, or the different things in our environment. For example, artificially produced electromagnetic fields from technology. So let's go through it a little bit. Mitochondrial, it says right here, mitochondrial are essential for generating the energy that fuels cells and enables them to function. So it's fair to say that mitochondria, they're pretty important, right? Um, and down here, it says, however, mitochondrial defects are linked to the development of diseases such as type 2 diabetes. There's that word again, disease, dis-ease in the body. Patients with this disorder either cannot produce enough insulin or cannot effectively use the insulin their pancreas produces to maintain normal blood sugar levels. And it goes on to talk about the studies and stuff. Now, a couple of the things that I want to point out is they noted that the liver produces too much sugar, affecting the muscles, um, which I have felt the effects of from time to time when I felt that my sugar was off. And I know others that suffer with diabetes that suffer with muscle fatigue and muscle cramping and stuff like that, which is this is all related and interconnected. Um, they also noted that damage to the mitochondria did not cause cell death. So that is a very keynote there. Um, they go on to, and I'm just reading from my notes. You know, you guys can read the article as I scroll through it here. Um, so some of the other talking points I wanted to bring up is they also discuss or point out that losing your B cells is the main cause of type 2 diabetes. Okay, so what's the root cause, right? Why is it that people are losing their B cells, excuse me, in modern society? I'm not saying that this stuff has never happened before modern society, but why is it that it seems like all of these things are occurring in mass, right, in modern society? Again, I go back to, is it the corporate food system? Is it the toxic environment? One thing that keeps coming to my mind, as I stated a little while ago, is the artificially produced electromagnetic fields, which is all the technology we are surrounded by, right? Our bodies are biological electromagnetic machines, if you will. So you can go on to read this here as I discuss it. And I'm going to let you guys read it. Um, and I want to continue to discuss my key points. What is causing the damaged mitochondria? Okay, that's something to think about. What's causing that? Okay. Uh, they found a way to reverse the damage, but again, what is causing it? Okay, you can reverse it, or they think they may be able to reverse it, but what is causing it? Again, is it the corporate food system? Is it the toxic environment we live in? And I mean, we're talking about not just electromagnetic fields. We're talking about stuff, chemicals in the food and stuff in the atmosphere, stuff in our environment. It's that's a whole nother video, but um, I believe that the artificially produced electromagnetic fields have a lot to do with it. And I'll scroll down here. You can see it says diabetes is a multi system disease. You gain weight, and there it is. Your liver produces too much sugar, and your muscles are affected. Now, one of the things that I found out outside of this article is that when one of the ways your body will try to eliminate sugar or will eliminate sugar if you have too much in your system, the kidneys, it eliminates it through the kidneys, right? So, like, for example, your body, you start peeing a lot, you start urinating a lot, and you'll notice that your urine is real frothy, right? There's a lot of bubbles. I mean, it's normal, you can have bubbles when you urinate, but usually those bubbles will quickly dissipate, right? When you have too much sugar in your system, your urine will be very frothy, and you'll notice in the water that the froth kind of hangs around and doesn't go away. But So they repeated the experiments, and they go on to say, quote, although we haven't tested all possible cell types, we believe that our results could be applicable to all the different tissues that are affected by diabetes. Now that's all the different tissues. That's a very important thing to note there. Now this section, reversing mitochondrial damage, could help cure diabetes. Okay, again, so I would ask, well, we've got to nail down what's causing the mitochondrial damage, right? And I've mentioned what I think it is several times. But as they state right here, regardless of the cell type, the researchers found that damage to the mitochondria did not cause cell death. All right, so this brought up the possibility that they could reverse the damage, and these cells would be able to function normally, right? And then they talk about a drug that they're coming up with. I think of things like, the things that we're surrounded by, technology, as I mentioned, right? We consume a very artificially processed food chain. You got to think, why is diabetes skyrocketing in our society, or you could say modern society? Why is that happening? B cells are insulin producing, right? I believe that's what it said. So why are we losing those? Why is there so much dysfunction with the pancreas in so many people? I had a surgeon tell me during when COVID was going on. It was I don't know. I think it was maybe about a half a month or so into COVID, give or take. That she said all of a sudden they had a rash of people coming in, like a tremendous amount of people, or let's say an unusual number of people coming in with gallbladder problems and appendicitis. And I have confirmed that by talking to other people. What I tend to think of is, they mention what are the important pathways for mitochondrial function. This is something we have to consider, right? Because if the way we're living our lives and the things we're consuming and the things we're exposed to are affecting these things, we've got to figure out a way to stop that one way or another, right? And again, it's important to note if your liver is producing too much sugar, that's going to affect other things, not just your muscles. And so it concludes here, the team is working and on further dissecting the cellular pathways that are disrupted, and hope that they will be able to replicate their results in cell samples from diabetic patients. So that's awesome. This very last thing here, where it says reference right here, okay? Retrograde mitochondrial signaling governs the identity and maturity of metabolic tissues. Wow, that is a powerful statement. I mean, think about that. Like, that's, mitochondrial signaling governs the identity and maturity of metabolic tissues. So you think metabolic signaling is something to be concerned about? Yeah, I definitely think so, especially according to that, right? So when we consider these different things, the damage to the the damage to the mitochondria did not cause cell death, but what's causing the damage to the mitochondria, right? Just to recap the article, people are losing their B cells, and that has been determined, according to the researchers in this article, to be the main cause of type 2 diabetes. So, what's the root cause? Again, what's causing people to lose their B cells? What's causing the damage to the mitochondria? At the end of the article there, you see that reference that I've got highlighted. I mean, that's key right there. Now, I want you guys to pay attention to something down below. I like to look at the comments that people make, right? Because there's so many people suffering with type 1 and type 2 diabetes. And if you go down here to the comments, I like to look and see what people write, even on YouTube videos or articles, written articles like this one. So this person, Nancy Sugano, I think is how you pronounce that, Sugano. She writes, "Why is it so difficult for a type 2 diabetic person to lose weight? Please give me some advice. Thank you." And she puts her name. She's from Chicago, Illinois. A lot of people are calling it Chirac. And this person poses a good question. Why insulin producing pancreatic beta cells in diabetic patients have abnormal mitochondria and fail to generate sufficient energy? Now this guy right here makes a good point, right? This guy, Steve Deminoff, he says neither cells nor, and this kind of relates to what I've been saying with the toxic environment, corporate food system. Listen to this carefully, okay? He writes right here, neither cells nor mitochondria generate energy. Nuclear reactions within the sun generate energy. We, living things on the Earth's surface, harness this energy through a complex food chain, and series of biochemical steps, okay? Or you could say biochemical reactions, right? Your writers should get this right. Now, he brings up a good point. However, I do believe that, yes, he's correct. You know, energy is definitely generated by nuclear reactions within the sun. However, the body uses those. I think what he's trying to say there is the body uses that whole system, what am I trying to say? The whole chain. It's a chain. It's an environmental, you know, everything is connected. I forget the word I'm looking for, but basically everything is connected, right? And if we're not getting the energy that we need from what we consume, if we're not getting the proper energy from the sun, that's a whole nother conversation. You know, there's always this big scare about, oh, you're going to get skin cancer if you get too much sun. Well, yeah, duh, too much of anything is a bad thing. You can drink too much water and it'll kill you. But you need exposure to the sun on a daily basis, a healthy, limited time. And for each individual, that may vary, right? But the mitochondria, I think it's also important to add in addition to Steve's comment there, is that yes, the cells do produce energy in our body, the mitochondria and so on. Our bodies do produce energy. But how, I think what he's trying to say is, how do they do that? Well, they have to get a source of energy, right? There has to be an original point of energy, of the energy source, right, so to speak. So take a look at the article, guys. I'm going to leave a link for you. You can go through the comments here. A lot of people have some thought-provoking things to say. A lot of people discuss, you know, limiting your diet and being very strict with that. So take a look at the article. I'm going to leave a link below to it so you guys can check it out. Again, the article is called "Scientists Identify Cellular quote-unquote switch that may reverse diabetes," right? And it's by SciTech Daily. So guys, enjoy the article. I believe it's insightful and thought-provoking, at least it was for me. And check it out and let me know what you think. Link below.